Late one night, 50 Cent decided to go nuclear on Jim Jones over the Let's Rap About It podcast, and it was brutal. This wasn't just a little jab or slick comment, this felt personal. Some people really think 50 might be the most ruthless figure, not just in hip-hop, but in the whole entertainment game. So the big question is, did Fifth take it way too far? And could this be one of the biggest L's Jimmy ever had to hold in his career? Now here's where it gets wild. A lot of folks say 50 was out of pocket, but others are saying this was straight payback. Just days earlier on Let's Rap About It, Jim Jones and his crew brought up G-Unit in a way that many saw as disrespectful. No sugarcoating it, it sounded crazy. So 50 didn't just respond, he escalated. He went online and dropped surveillance footage showing Jim Jones getting evicted from the podcast studio like it was primetime TV drama. This whole situation just turned messy real fast. The podcast setup, yeah, it's done in that same building. Fabulous once joked he would buy if Jimmy didn't handle his rent. Well, guess what? Looks like that rent never got handled. The surveillance footage is stamped February 19th, 2026, a Thursday. And even though it's late Friday night rolling into the morning, 50 somehow had that footage almost instantly. That tells you everything. The landlord clearly passed it over, especially since 50 Cent already had backdoor talks with him before. Remember those voice notes Fifth posted months ago? Yeah, same situation all over again. But this time it's worse. Now we're not just hearing rumors, we're seeing actual footage of Jim Jones trying to kick doors in, and there's audio too. You can hear people in the clip saying he shut the lights off. That part had folks talking heavy, and it's crazy because many thought by now Jimmy would have squared everything away quietly. Instead, this drops online for the world to see. No filters, no edits, just raw footage making the whole situation look wild. Now, the landlord locked the doors, and that's when everything really fell apart. This is bad, like really bad.
You got the lights on, you're not supposed to be hurt, Jim? Huh? You got the lights on. What's up? What happened? Yeah, I'm good. No, come on. All right. Yeah, let's talk about it.
The lights were cut. You can hear it clear as day in the clip. Light cut them lights off. That part alone had people stunned. Then you hear the banging and Jim Jones saying, "No, this is my property. You got a problem? Talk to me about it." That line right there made it even more tense. But the landlord wasn't arguing about ownership. He was talking about rent. And from what's being said, that rent on the studio wasn't paid. That's the real issue. So now people are asking why 50 Cent would even post something like this. Some are saying, why he not in the booth? Why he showing footage instead of rapping? But let's be real, shots have been flying back and forth for years. Fifth isn't about to jump in a rap battle over this, and everyone knows it. His style is different. He plays chess, not checkers. In beef, every move is strategy, and 50 has been moving like this for a long time. This might not look pretty, but it's definitely calculated. Now, a lot of people are heated at 50 Cent over the Lil' Kim situation too. Some feel like he's just picking on her for no reason. But if you really know the history, you know her ex had serious issues with 50. That tension didn't just appear out of nowhere. Go back to the Magic Stick era. She didn't show up for the video, and that wasn't random. There were real problems behind the scenes involving someone known as World, a guy Fifth reportedly had deep conflict with. That situation left scars, and it never really cooled off. So when people say 50 is bullying, that's not the full story. There's history there, and history in this game matters. He doesn't move without a reason, even if the reason isn't public. Same thing with this Jim Jones drama. It didn't just pop up overnight, and to make it even more wild, 50 didn't stop at posting footage. He also dropped the actual eviction notice online. That's like saying, in case you think this is fake, here's the paperwork. He came with receipts, no mystery, no guessing, just straight documents for the world to see. This wasn't just talk. This was the actual notice on paper. The document lists IFC Management, LLC, and Joseph Jones with the address on East 133rd Street right there in black and white. It clearly says the tenant was served a 15-day notice of default dated January 5th, 2026, which expired January 22nd, 2026. Then a 5-day notice of termination dated February 10th, 2026, expiring February 17th, 2026, just 2 days before the lockout on the 19th, that Thursday. That timeline lines up perfectly with the footage that hit online, and it gets even more serious. The notice says the tenancy was officially terminated under the landlord's rights in the lease, including paragraph 17. It states the landlord re-entered and peaceably recovered possession of the premises. It also says the tenant can arrange with the landlord to retrieve property, but if anyone tries to enter, change locks, or bring a third party without permission, it could be treated as trespass and face legal action. That's not gossip. That's formal paperwork spelling everything out clear as day. The notice even says to coordinate retrieval of the tenant's property through Rawher Enterprises, LLC. So yeah, you can already see how this played out. That 15-day notice was dated January 5th, 2026, which means there was time to fix it. Plenty of time. But from the paperwork, it looks like the rent still wasn't handled. And now, the Let's Rap About It podcast reportedly doesn't even have access to that studio anymore. That's a tough look. What makes it even crazier is the timing. This all popped off just days after the podcast made some slick comments about G-Unit. They didn't say names directly, but they were clearly talking about the plane situation involving Tony Yayo, Uncle Murda, and Ja Rule. Then here comes 50 Cent, dropping footage like it's nothing. Petty? Maybe. Strategic? Definitely. So what exactly did the podcast say to spark this? Well, Mano brought it up and asked, what if you pillow fight on the plane? And that's where things started heating up. So the podcast grabbed those subs and tied them to the whole Ja Rule versus Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda situation. Online, people were saying, oh, they almost fought on the plane, and Ja Rule stood on business. But let's be real, nothing actually went down. If anybody really wanted action, they could have stepped off that plane and handled it outside like grown men. That airport isn't in the middle of nowhere. When you leave JFK, you're right there in Queens. South Jamaica isn't far at all. That area has deep roots connected to names like 50 Cent and his circle. So when Jimmy and others say, why didn't they get it on off the plane? What they're really doing is throwing shade. They're basically questioning why nothing happened once they touched ground. And from 50's perspective, that sounds like slick talk trying to paint Yayo and the crew as soft. That's how he's reading it. To him, it's not just commentary. It's disrespect wrapped in jokes. So 50 Cent saw that clip and basically said, oh, really? The wild part? That episode of Let's Rap About It dropped literally a day before the eviction footage surfaced. Then late at night, boom, 50 posts the lockout video for the whole world to see. The timing doesn't look random at all. That feels calculated. He didn't stumble on that clip by accident. He was watching. And let's be honest, Fifth is not clueless. He moves strategic, and he definitely moves petty when he feels disrespected.
Handle your family or your friends using your name for clout.
That shit happens anyway, man. People gonna go for clout over money nowadays, so you gotta expect it. There's some people that's close to you, some people you call friends, they be using your name for clout when you're not around. Like, you know how this game go, man. Clout is what everybody chase. You don't think so?
I do.
It's like a combination, right? How about the person that you would call, right, as an emergency is using your name for clout?
That's heavy.
That's crazy.
Who do you call if you on a plane?
Depends on.
And you run into niggas and it turns into a pillow fight. Who do you call in?
That's a good question.
Who do you call if you run into some of your opposition
Your ops?
on a plane? How do you handle it?
Can't call nobody on the plane.
Until something happens.
No, but the plane didn't take off. Or like, how do you handle it?
Oh, it's
What do
not in
you
the
do?
air?
It's not in the air.
The charges could be
Oh, no,
a
man.
little less if it's not in the air.
Charges could be a little less.
If it's not in the air.
Oh, so you taking the charge?
I'm just weighing different situations and things like that. You know what I mean?
Like
Nah, that's a federal charge.
that's a federal charge.
On that plane?
Sure.
If it's in the air or if you on the ground?
I don't know.
No. Not necessarily.
He didn't have to fight at the.
But you wasn't on the plane?
He wasn't on a plane. It was airport, though,
It's an
right?
airport.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Is it the same thing?
It may not be. They might have
Airport, I think
might be something different,
I think
right?
the
Might be
airport's
something different.
Once you get on
I
that
don't know. I
plane,
really don't know. I looked it up. It says that fighting on a plane is a federal charge, but is that fighting on a plane when it's in the air?
But
Or
let's
that
check it
just-
out.
I've been banned from that
Google
same
that.
airline for not.
I've
for
been
It's
smoke.
fighting on the
I
plane
wasn't- I
and
wasn't-
fighting in the airport. Two different things.
Gotta
Right.
be.
Or doesn't mean, or is it different when you?
I think you
when the
can get it
plane is
on in the
air?
airport and you good.
I mean, I've been kicked off of flights, but I wasn't fighting.
So your ops
On
were
the plane,
37,000 to crash
you
out.
just can't get through it. You just got to do something. At least wait.
So you get
you-
off the plane,
Deboard the plane.
and then it could be a state thing.
Right. Then you can get with it.
Can you have a
This looked like a direct response to that segment from the last episode. Now the same studio where Jim Jones and the crew were talking slick is reportedly under the landlord's control. Eviction notice out, doors locked, paperwork online. The company tied to the space caught up in it too. And 50 didn't just post the footage. He even turned it into a poll for the internet to debate. That's next level trolling. People really need to stop underestimating how he plays this game. So yeah, it felt like they were low-key toying with G-Unit. That segment was clearly aimed at Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda because, let's be real, there's tension there right now. You can tell there's friction between the Let's Rap About It crew and the G-Unit side. They wanted a rap battle vibe, but Fifth isn't stepping in a booth for this. Instead, 50 Cent flipped the script and made it public drama. From no heat to no lights, then no access to the studio at all, it just kept getting worse. Now the studio space is reportedly locked up, and that's a hard reality. If that's the case, they might have to relocate fast, and finding a new space overnight isn't simple. That puts the podcast in a tight spot. And 50 didn't stop at posting the footage and paperwork. He added a caption that took it even further. The way he framed it on Instagram had people talking heavy. The caption was just as bold as the video itself. He captioned it, "Damn bro, this wouldn't happen if we was friends. Wanna be friends?" And even tagged, "Let's rap about it with a laughing tone." That's next level petty. When 50 Cent moves like that, you already know he's trolling with purpose. Some people are calling it corny, others are saying it's savage. Either way, it got attention fast. Fifth has always played the long game, and when he responds, it's rarely subtle. This is the same pattern he's been using for years. Now critics are saying, how you almost 50 and dealing with rent issues. That's the narrative floating around. Jim Jones is a known name in hip hop, so when paperwork and eviction footage hit the internet, it's going to look wild. Meanwhile, 50 isn't worried about rap battles right now. He's building business. From expanding ventures in Shreveport to growing the G-Unit brand and working on major TV projects like Power, he's locked in on bigger plays. That's why this moment feels less about music and more about strategy.
pillow fight on the thing?
That's the thing. That's the key.
Now,
Maybe not a physical, but
You can at least have a pillow fight.
pillow fight seems like it's
is
legal.
pillow an assault?
Pillow fight not legal either?
Is that an assault charge if you get hit with a pillow?
I don't think that's a real
could- I don't know.
assault.
Shit, if you hit a nigga with water right now,
If you throw a pillow at a random like old white lady in first class, that might be assault.
Nah, you hit anybody white, you get assault.
He's making big business plays, while Jim Jones isn't looking like he's building much right now. Wasn't that the same studio that was supposed to be this big creative hub for content creators? That whole vision looked major at first. Now it seems like it's all shut down. That's a tough headline to carry. Meanwhile, 50 Cent stays active, strategic, and loud with his moves, so the real question is, did Fifth go too far with this back and forth involving Jim and the Let's Rap About It crew? Or was this energy deserved after what was said in that last episode? Now, I need the Dripzine family locked in. Make sure you subscribe to Dripzine right now. Hit the like button, smash that hype button, and share this video so the channel can grow. Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell me, did they ask for this reaction or did 50 cross the line this time? This situation keeps getting wilder and I want to hear what you think. Thank you for rocking with the channel.
Yeah, appreciate it. No, listen, no worries. I know this is not your bill, you know what I mean? So that's what I said, start off fresh, finish up with the
So now I know what, what was controlling what. I mean,
we was here before.
Sorry, excuse me. Do we need an electrician or do we just call on it and they come out and return when they want?
You just gotta.
I was just told I don't need an electrician. I'm talking to you guys right now.
You let them know, let's deal with this.
We need to put in a new meter or we just need to put a new meter now?
New meter.
A new meter needs to be in.
You're a new customer. You trust.
We're a new customer.
And whenever you're ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for Super Bowl 60? Are you ready for the excitement, the adrenaline, Branson Cognac? What happened with the lights, man?
I have to rent it. And I said, okay, fine. Right? He's been saying this for since October. And so he keeps trying to build it, but he won't sign the lease. He's like, I don't like these terms. I want 6 months of build out and ridiculous bullshit. We also have a partnership agreement where half of what he's building now, his media, belongs to us. But he won't tell us how much he's making and doing all these things. So half of the content he's creating, if you want to buy that too, I'll sell you half the company. He's not a business. He's insane. To me, it's worth very little to nothing. But if it works out for you, I just throw that in as a sweetener. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is he signed a lease with me. Right now he owes, I'm going to say in a short way, at least $80,000, if not $180,000. The monthly rent on the old lease.
I'll never have to film on, but what I'm trying to say is, I've been happy to be able to invest in myself and something that I know is going to help a lot of other people. I'm not building this facility for myself. Yes, it is a business move. That's why I invested in myself. But I'm building a facility for all creators and young ones that's trying to come up to be a creative or have a creative ability that they want to know how to double down on. It's like an X-Men school for all the fly people, if you say so yourself. So, I appreciate the promo. I love free promo. I ain't gonna miss a beat. You did? It's cold in here.